Good morning, boys and girls, ladies and germs. It's John Pinto, your roving realtor, bon vivant, video blogger enthusiast, and I am here with Chris Allen of Nelson Staffing. Say hi, Chris.
Hello, nice to meet y'all.
Good, good. So Chris doesn't know this, but tuning in today are all of my little Italian friends from my old neighborhood in Red Hook, who I was in strollers with, and Virginia Junta is looking right now. Ginny is a fantastic cook. Too bad she's not here to make us some linguine and clams. And then, of course, all my classmates from Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary. Joey Cirillo, Joey Bracco, Joey Amatricola, Joey Esposito. We had one girl, Joanne Fitzsimmons. I don't know what her mother was thinking when she married the Irishman. And then Bishop Ford. There were a lot of Sheedys, Mulligans, and McLaughlins there. Then Hunter College. That's where I first met guys named Ira and Joel who weren't Italian or Irish. Of course, all my cousins on the East Coast, all my cousins in Naples, Italy. And my new family in Morocco. Got family in Morocco. All my realtor friends in California, so here we go. And Ginny, now that you're going to retire, Chris is going to help you get a retirement consulting gig in California, and we're going to sell you a house in the Napa Yacht Club, and all we're going to do is make linguine and clams every night.
Yeah, for sure.
So enlighten us. What's going on in the job market in North Bay these days? Let's start with the unemployment rate. What's the unemployment rate?
It was as low as 1.9 at the end of last year. It's the gold medal you don't want to win. California in general, some of the lowest unemployment in America, and Napa, Sonoma specifically, not Santa Rosa, not Fairfield, Napa and Sonoma, usually hovering around 2. So
I know
really tight.
I know Hero and his wife Lisa Domani closed Terra in St. Helena because they couldn't find enough people to work.
Yeah, there's a few different things going on there. They keep pushing the minimum wage up. We've got the different laws that are encouraging that, which is interesting because ultimately they do very well on tips. So they weren't necessarily asking for it, depending on who you talk to, right? But if the minimum wage goes up, the overall cost base goes up, and so yeah, they're struggling. And quite frankly, I feel bad sometimes when I say it, but when I go to job fairs, when I talk to potential candidates, when I talk to anybody out there looking, my minimum entry level starting jobs, they're a lot higher than minimum wage. Mm-hmm. So I end up taking a lot of those people out of restaurants. They come to me, they end up in the wine industry somewhere working for Nelson Staffing. So there's a lot of tussle going on between the various employers, the various clients who need people. And at a 2% unemployment, there's just not enough to go around.
Okay. So Nelson Staffing and you personally, are you representing more employees posting jobs, or are you representing more buyers or job seekers looking to get jobs? Who do you represent?
That's a really good point. Both. Mm-hmm. It's very simple, very straightforward. We have people that go out to the clients that go get what we call orders. I need a this, I need a that, whether it be anything from an entry-level warehouse worker or hospitality worker through to CEOs or HR reps, VPs of marketing, etc. So we go get those orders. We now have half of what we need. We then have to fill those orders with people. So a whole large percentage of the employees here working for me right now are recruiters looking for those people, digging under every stone, trying to find who can we use. Until we put those two things together, we don't get paid.
Can you enlighten the viewing audience on who some of the larger employers are in your service area?
That's a really, really good point. And it's especially helpful for those that don't live here and think about coming to town, which, believe it or not, before you came here, I had one of those very conversations. It's important to remember that we are predominantly a little over 1,000 farms. We are mostly agricultural, so we're not the Bay Area as much as some people might think that we want to be the Bay Area. We're called the North Bay, but the only way really that we share a lot with the Bay Area is unfortunately the cost side. Mm-hmm. We don't share the employment side. We don't have thousands and thousands of six-figure jobs that you probably could get in the Bay Area.
So there's not a lot of tech companies in the North Bay?
Not a lot of tech, not a lot of high-level, executive-level earning types of positions, but the cost is there. We share that. It's very high cost. And so one of the jokes that a lot of people will talk about is that everybody here has 3 jobs. That's how you're making the sigh there. So,
Oh yeah, well, everybody has 3 jobs, and there's 5 income earners in every family.
yeah, absolutely, yes.
So 5 times 3, and you got 15 jobs in one household.
Yeah, whatever you got to do to piece it all together. That's not to say, and I want to stress that point as well. You can absolutely, if you were starting here or coming earlier on in your career, you could start out in an industry. Yes, wine is a big industry here, though. That's the farming, that's the agriculture, and you could earn a really good living. You could work your way up. You could have probably just under 6-figure salary quite nicely. You can afford a house. You can afford to have your cars, etc. You can do that here. It's not the classic way that it would be in the Bay Area, but you could do it here. It just takes time, and you have to work your way up to those roles. Because again, all of those wineries, those farms, they only have so many of those top level roles at those pay areas. But
So let's talk a little bit about how this might fit into my professional situation vis-a-vis all my clients in the South Bay,
Absolutely.
the East Bay, the Peninsula. Okay,
sure.
Despite my youthful appearance,
yes,
and I will say that my friend Ginny looks much younger than I do. Even though she's only a year younger, she looks decades younger than I do.
I'll believe you. No
That's-
comment. I don't want to get in trouble with anybody.
I am a baby boomer. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I have certain observations from my clients, friends, cohorts being baby boomers. A lot of them are equity rich in their houses.
Yeah.
Maybe they're retired. Maybe they have a comfortable retirement. Maybe they're a little challenged on their income vis-a-vis the kind of lifestyle they want to live.
Yeah.
They're very skilled, in the South Bay. I mean, baby boomers are usually college educated, sometimes advanced degrees, tremendous professional experience.
Yeah.
I live a very unusual life, Chris. Most of my business, by virtue of the fact that most of the business and most of the money in the Bay Area is in Silicon Valley, the Peninsula, East Bay, San Francisco.
Yeah.
But Silicon Valley is the engine. But for lifestyle reasons, I like living in Napa Valley.
Absolutely.
And I've been able to pull that off because after 46 years in the business, I've got over 4,000 clients spread all over Northern California like pancake batter. And I certainly would like to recruit more of my clients up to Napa.
Yeah.
And they don't have the need perhaps to, make $10,000 a month or what have you. So how would they solve your problem in terms of being able to place highly qualified retired baby boomers looking for a second career and something to augment their retirement?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of factors to that. As I had mentioned before the start of the video, I literally had just gotten off a phone call with somebody who was doing or wanting to do exactly that and had. So there's usually 2 types of calls that I get. One is somebody's just done it. They've sold up, they've shipped, they've landed, they're somewhere in Napa, Sonoma, and looking around and seeing the cost, because we do share the cost with the Bay, and going kind of, what happened, right? What can we do? And then there's the others that are, I'm about to come out, like you're talking about. I would love to come out. Many of us grew up in the Bay visiting Napa. Well, now, as you say, it's absolutely a lovely lifestyle. How do I make that a reality? So I would say it's research. I would say it's give me a call. It's understand what kind of earnings you would need for your household, right? What are all your outgoings? How do they add up, et cetera? Again, I explained kind of that pyramid of opportunity, right? If you think about at the very top of the pyramid, you have the owners of the farms, again, the wineries, right? And it's agricultural. It's not the Bay. We don't have high rises full of businesses here with tons of startup money, right? We're agricultural and it's wineries. So you have the owners at the top and they are earning what they earn. As you fall down that pyramid of opportunity, yes, you get more and more jobs, but you're still starting out with very, very few of those very high earning jobs, right? And so the mid-tier, that kind of mid-management, which might be a lovely place for somebody with the right expectation coming from anywhere in the Bay to the North Bay or outside California to the North Bay to land, right? I wouldn't necessarily expect that they'd have to go so-called entry level or some of the earlier type jobs, but that middle level, and that's a comfortable place to land if you can take that earning and have that be your lifestyle.
Well, let's go there for a little bit because, even wineries need people in the field. I mean,
Absolutely.
they need salespeople, they need accountants, they need wine guides that are not necessarily sommeliers.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, and quite frankly, two of my hangouts are Inglenook Winery and Domaine Carneros.
Yep.
I mean, these are gorgeous, gorgeous venues, great products, great teams. Now, of course, if you get inundated on a Saturday, the way you do in Domaine Carneros, and you're a wine guide, I mean, you're hopping. You're hopping. But you
Yeah.
are getting your 10,000 steps in.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So let's talk specifically about baby boomers. Now, I see, my cousin Mario Pinto just checked in from Napoli. Come stai, cugino? Come stai? He drives trucks. Can we get a truck driver job out here? He's got his own rigs. I think he's got 4 rigs.
We could do truck drivers. They would need to be the direct hire model. We don't tend to do them as temps.
Oh, yeah?
But yes, we could look at that.
And my friend Richard Dubin is looking from upstate New York. From Brooklyn, we like to call upstate New York, Canada. Do you have any openings for a trumpet player or a playwright or a comedy writer? Because
Unfortunately,
I have somebody
don't
available.
have those. No,
You don't have those?
No.
Oh, yes.
But we do have lots of groups that he would enjoy visiting the people in there.
Oh, yes.
But that's not earning, is it? So.
Richard can be extremely entertaining. He can be
No
extremely entertaining. And Kathy Hammond, who produces olive oil and a variety of other goods and services up in her farm, is watching now too. So who knows? Maybe she needs to hire
We
somebody.
do have olive oil manufacturers up here. So not a lot. Probably I'd have to count in my head, but less than a handful. But that experience would be interesting.
So let's talk about specifically, again, the baby boomers.
Yeah.
They're retired. Maybe they have a small retirement from work. They've got probably millions of dollars of equity in their house.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just on the cusp of either taking Social Security or being ready to take Social Security. They're trying to figure out what to do with themselves during the course of the day.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're not watching a lot of Fox News. We can only hope, and getting themselves all riled up. So what kind of positions could be available for highly educated, credentialed baby boomers who are somewhat independently, financially independent?
Yeah. And I think the angle really would be probably their professionalism, the amount of years experience they have. So kind of business wisdom, if you will, right? That would translate really well into that middle tier of management. And you're absolutely right. All of these wineries, most people know the customer service side. You walk into a tasting room, you taste some wine, and there's somebody in the room taking care of you. Not hard for people to imagine the production side, all the warehouses, all the field work, all the bottling and everything else. That's not what we would be talking about for them. We would be talking that middle layer where it is every winery has all of the normal requirements of any business. They have accounting people, of course. They have HR people, of course. They have marketing. They have sales. They all of these different fields, right? And so that would be where presumably some of these people would fit. The only expectation setting I still make, though, is that because you've moved up that pyramid of opportunities, there's only a few of those for every single winery, right? And then you have to look at the other businesses that are here. So it's about being patient. It's being able to be patient from
Get
a
your
cost
name in the game.
perspective. Get your name in the game, and if they're thinking of coming, what's that cost plan look like? The ones that I feel sorry for are the phone calls where they've landed, they've moved from wherever they are, and oh my gosh, I had no idea that Napa Sonoma rents were going to be so much. I had no idea that Napa Sonoma housing, if they bought a house.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
Let me stop you right there. Okay, if you're in
You're gonna
Silicon
explain to
Valley,
the audience.
if you're in Silicon Valley, you're on the peninsula, you're in San Francisco, and you're coming to Napa Valley to buy housing, the question you're going to ask is, why is everything so inexpensive? Okay, so
For them,
understand, these people are not moving from Des Moines, Iowa. Okay, these people would be in the South Bay. There is no price shock for these people.
All right. Well, that's fine then. So as long as they've priced out waiting or doing other work or whatever their other hobbies are while we wait for those jobs to show up, or we find a way in to get them a slot at a particular winery or some job that moves them to that position.
Yeah.
But they don't tend to just pop up and move you straight in.
Right, and by the way, Napa Valley and Sonoma Valley are a lot less expensive than Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And then if you go over the hill to Green Valley and West Fairfield,
Absolutely.
it's even more discounted. And then if you go over to Vacaville, it's even more discounted. And, the traffic in the North Bay is nothing like it is in the South Bay,
Yeah.
unless, God forbid, you wind up on 101 on the Sonoma side,
Yeah.
because that could get a little hairy.
Absolutely, yeah, and 80 going into the bay can be equally as bad. So, but no, you're absolutely right. If you wanted to hop over any of these hills, it gets even cheaper. But as you say, they probably wouldn't need to do that. They'd probably be able to situate themselves right here in Napa and Sonoma. So, yeah, all the roles that you would find in a regular corporate of some sort would be here. It's just about when do they come available? How does that churn happen? When does it happen? And how do you take advantage of that? One of the reasons we think that we're a great resource for that, and I'm sure most people have heard this story that are watching or listening, but more than ever in a plus or minus 2% unemployment market, the way you're going to find out about these roles is through referrals and networks, right? Your colleagues, your friends, who do you know?
Yeah.
And many of the positions that we end up placing have not been posted, right? So just similar to even you when you were looking, right? They just word of mouth, they're out there on the vine, pun intended, and then somebody
So again,
finds
get in
it.
the game.
Get in the game. Nelson in particular, this is our 50th year, so we're very happy about that. We've been in the North Bay doing what we do, and we think of ourselves as your network. Getting to know us is like getting to know the whole North Bay for 50 years.
So when you started with Nelson, you started in utero.
yes, exactly.
Let me go off on a slightly different tangent.
Yeah.
During the last meltdown, I think you were around for that. What, 2008?
I think I got lucky. No, I came back just after that.
You
I really did. I got lucky.
One thing that came out of the meltdown is a lot of companies replaced hiring with farming out.
Yeah.
Farming out, consulting assignments, temporary assignments,
Yeah.
and all that. So could you address the implications and the process of two things? First of all, full-time employment versus part-time employment,
Yeah.
and permanent employment versus temporary employment.
Sure. Yeah, and they kind of pair up, which is normal for people. Generally speaking, so when I talk to clients today, and this is balancing that market between clients, and there's a lot more demand for workers than there are supply of them. That's where you get the unemployment rate. And so a lot of conversations with clients is educating them about that experience, letting them know that, look, candidate is king or queen in this case, right? They're in charge. You don't have to like it, but it's their market.
Yeah.
And it will shift. Economies always do, but right now it is what it is. And so it's better that we face into that. So to answer one of your points, when I get clients asking me, I'd love to have somebody for a few hours, 2 to 3 hours Monday to Friday, or whatever they describe as a part-time arrangement, as politely as I can, if I can either talk them into full 8-hour days, right, or 40-hour weeks. Other than that, there's really not a lot I can do, and the reason for that is that because the candidates are in charge, that means my candidates are in charge, and my candidates are not just with Nelson. They're talking to everybody. They're talking to their network. They're listening to their friends. They're listening to their colleagues. They are constantly aware. 86% of people are listening to offers right now, whether they're actively job hunting or not. They're talking. And there's
86% of the employable people are listening to offers right now, whether they're looking or not.
Yeah. And 31%, I believe, of that were active. So the others were it's that classic tale of a recruiter like me, or somebody calls up, "Hey, Chris, I got this job." And old days, I got this job, and I'm busy. Go away. I don't want. Nowadays, it's like, "Oh, Chris, I'm a recruiter. Can I check?" Okay, what do you got? I might as well listen. Why would I not listen?
So,
right?
So fully 1/3 of the people out there are actively looking.
Number one reason is pay.
Pay.
It's a shifting, churning thing. So yeah, when these clients call me and they want part-time, I say, look, unless you can figure out how to give me full-time days, I will make up the other day. So if they give me 3 days, I'll find 2 days of work if I can. But really the answer to part-time is it's not going to work right now.
Okay, so what is full-time?
40 hours is fine. Absolutely, 40 hours is fine. Full-time is what we expect. But it's really driven by the candidates. You know, these people, they do have rent to pay, they do have mortgages to pay, they do have college or cars or whatever else the expenses are in life, groceries, right?
Yeah. What about temp to perm?
Temp to perm is what clients still would very much like.
Both clients, the employers and the employees.
Employees would still prefer to just get full-time work.
Yeah.
But again, when they're in charge, they like the temp side of it. If it fits their world, they like the temp side of it because they can check out the culture. They can check out the fit. Is this the right they don't want to sign up and go through all the books and do all the paperwork and everything else only to find out a week or two into it that it's not right for them either. So they're okay with that. What they wouldn't like is, to use yours, full-time temp. No chance of converting you. We only need you for 40 hours a week for a while to cover the various things that come up in life. Maybe somebody left,
Okay.
maybe there's a maternity, maybe, all those kinds of things.
So let me understand. Okay, so full-time is the name of the game.
Absolutely.
There's not really part-time.
No.
Perm or temp to perm are fine.
Love it.
And generally speaking, assuming everything is lovey-dovey, how long is the temp to the perm?
That's so interesting. I have clients that will try somebody out, and within a week, as we would say they would convert them to an employee. They take them away from Nelson, right? I have other clients that will do it for months, months and months, and I have candidates that will take either side of that too. They don't mind if the fit is right, and they believe that they're going down that path to becoming permanent. They'll stay a very long time. It seems, I can't remember last year when we did our survey, it was somewhere in the top 3 to 5 things, but candidates really want that fit. They really want to feel that they belong and that they're a part of something. And yes, they want pay, of course they do. But give or take, however much pay is that requirement, they can buy a little bit of pay for fit.
You got to think that anyone who's attracted to live in the North Bay, Napa Valley, Sonoma Valley, they're lifestyle people.
Absolutely.
They're looking for lifestyle. They're not looking to work themselves into oblivion.
Otherwise, stay there and earn a whole lot more.
Yeah. You could do that in San Francisco or the South Bay.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Now, you did mention that compensation is king, but where does benefits fall into that? And again, thinking with a lot of the people that I know in the South Bay Peninsula, East Bay, San Francisco, many of them have health insurance already. They have some kind of retirement package. They may not be as needy of a benefits package. Of course, others might. So can you enlighten us on what kind of benefits packages are at play here and how important it is vis-a-vis the income package?
Yeah, it's definitely on the list. It's something that they're aware of. We don't tend to tick the boxes the way the Bay Area does because if we're competitive, they're hyper competitive, aren't they? I mean, I'm not aware of anybody that does coffee bars or some of the stuff that I hear that
LinkedIn.
That's crazy.
I
right?
visited some clients at LinkedIn and Facebook and Cisco Systems. It's like, you don't need to go anyplace. They got the cafeterias, they got the cafes.
Absolutely. No, we don't have that kind of. It's a little more classic in terms.
Well, they
of
also
benefits.
own your soul, however. By the way,
your words, not mine. That's fine. We do because we are agricultural. You'll find that there's a lot of pets at wineries or cellars or offices. So dog friendly, et cetera, kind of environments. But it is really just classic. Your 401ks and your vision and your dental and all that. And they tend to fall under the normal kind of ranges that you saw outside the Bay Area. They're not as good, even those as the Bay Area usually. But it comes back to pay. Pay is where really everybody is, because if you have the pay, you can buy the rest, or you can offset something with some other way. So that's really where it is. I don't remember where it's on the list, but it was far enough down that it's not a conversation that I've ever had with clients specifically in the last few years, or indeed candidates specifically, other than, to be clear, for candidates going from temp, which is no benefits, to permanent with benefit. Absolutely, that's the goal. Right? I want 40 hours because I need to earn and pay my bills, and I want benefits because I need those benefits.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So when I'm in the South Bay and I've got clients in between, I always advise them, I say, look, there's a labor shortage. You have some leverage here. Now, in the South Bay, I'm looking at going to Gilroy, Hollister, Livermore, San Juan Bautista, I mean, maybe even Concord, to get them to a point of some affordable housing. So I'm always saying, see what you can negotiate on at least working one day remotely.
Yeah.
See if you can work something out with a 40-hour work week, but maybe 4 days times 10, or, you break it down into 4 days and then 1 day of telecommuting. I'm thinking these jobs, probably there's not a lot of telecommuting involved. You need to be on site.
It's a really good point. Yeah, we, in that sense, being agricultural based, that is also a bit more classic. Yes, they probably would like you to be in the office. They'd like to see you there. It's Monday to Friday. It's 8 to 5, 9 to 5. Whatever it is. Is there some flexibility around that, just in terms of if you've got something to do or you've got appointments or whatever? Absolutely. I don't know that telecommuting is not something I run to all that much up here. So it's a lifestyle choice. It's being up here, cruising in, having a wonderful place to work. But yes, doing your more classic daily Monday to Friday kind of job. That is what you would see.
Yeah. Now, are the jobs in any way gender specific, or are we way past that and everybody does everything?
Yeah, my answer is I think we're way past that. Only in the sense that it's not a conversation I have. It doesn't come up. I don't have people saying what they shouldn't say about what they would like to see or not see for certain jobs. Certainly on the industrial side, the production and the handling of all the wine, which is a big proportion of our business up here. No, absolutely not. It doesn't matter who you are. It matters what you can do.
Everybody's a free agent. Everybody's in play.
To me, it very much reminded me of the old school Silicon Valley days, when it was look, I don't care where you went to school. I don't care who your family is. I don't care how you're physically capable. What can you do for me? I can do this. Done. It's capabilities. Boom.
Good.
That's what they want. It really is.
So let's kind of tick off the major areas of employment. You said agriculture. Would that be vineyards first, vineyards and wineries?
Yeah, so Nelson specifically does everything except actually employ in the fields, and that's for workers' comp insurance reasons. But we do pretty much everything after the grapes have been picked all the way through to the wine bottle. So yes, tons of those kinds of work, whether it's winemaker, whether it's the cellars, the warehouses, the tasting rooms, the marketing, the sales, customer service. It doesn't take long to think about a winery as a business.
That sounds like there's something for everybody. Especially in a second career.
There's something for everybody. It's the only thing I keep stressing is how many of those things, right? If there's only 1,000 plus farms,
right,
there's only so many of those.
Again, that's where you got to call Chris.
Yes.
Get your name in. Get your resume out there.
Please.
When something pops up. Okay.
Or be flexible enough to try whatever. If you're determined to come up here and have that change of lifestyle, which we both understand, absolutely. Be flexible, have that cost basis, understand that you might earn a little less or not earn at all if you're okay with that, whilst you figure out how to get in there. You could start in a tasting room very easily as some sort of a potential HR, accounting, sales, whatever rep. The winery gets to know you, you sell some wine to some tourists, and you have some lovely weekends. Next thing you know, 3 to 4 promotions later, you're where you want to be. One of the people I just spoke to did that. They went in as a part-time. In tasting rooms, you can do part-time a little bit, but they went in for this kind of just entry-level hospitality, customer service kind of role. I'm sure this is the same in the Bay Area as it was when I was there, but once they find out what your skill set is, could you help with this? Could you help with this? The next thing you know, your job duties are this big, but you're getting paid for this job.
Well,
but that's how that can happen, and if you negotiate it right, that's how you can get where you need to be.
All right, so I think I'm just going to kind of tick off my favorite areas. And we'll see. Okay, restaurants. What kind of jobs are available in restaurants?
Restaurants are, quite honestly, tough for us. There are a lot of restaurant jobs that are needed, but the workers' comp insurance for agencies like us can be tough. So as long as if you're in the kitchen, you can't use the knives. That can be very dangerous for us. But you can plate, you can serve, you can do those kinds of things, right? That hospitality stuff.
Sounds like you're a roofing company with the workman's compensation.
It's our biggest cost. It's because we're the legal employer of record when you're doing the temp stuff, right? So it's something that we have to be careful for. And the restaurants, as we discussed in the beginning of this, is they're very much struggling with that pay rate, right? So they tend not to want to use us because of where I'm starting. My candidates can get full-time 40 hours of work at a much higher pay rate than they're normally able to or have budgeted for or as part of their business cost expense. So yes, I can. It tends to not be the case for those two reasons.
Okay. Now, I'm going to assume that some of the larger employers, the county, the municipalities, the cities, they probably do their own thing. They don't sub out.
They do love to do their own thing, of course,
Yeah.
and they can because they're big enough and there are plenty of people that will apply. But they do see us as an extension of that search, right? It doesn't cost somebody, a client of ours, any money to utilize our services to help find people. It only costs when we bring the order and the person together. So for quite a few projects, we do work with the city, we work with the county, we work with schools, the Unified School District. But it's in cases that make sense for them. And that's fine. That's wonderful. If they're getting enough people to fulfill what they need, then that's okay. But yeah, we do.
Do they have the same issues in terms of labor shortages and the same issues in terms of jobs going vacant because they can't find somebody?
It's a really interesting question. I can only almost answer that symptomatically.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is what we see are jobs that are posted for very long periods of time. When we talk to them, they're not ready to want to use us yet because, of course, we aren't free. We're a for-profit organization.
Yeah.
And so my take on it, and that is literally just what it is, my take is that their ability to withstand a certain amount of pain without having the people that are for these roles in place is bigger than a lot of for-profit organizations, non-civil based organizations. They somehow can just do without longer. Maybe they hire somebody for another role and they shift them internally. I don't know how they do it, but that's what I observe is that they will have these roles there.
And is it the same story for hospitals, transportation agencies, water districts, school districts?
I believe so. Absolutely.
They're all doing their own thing.
They're doing their own thing, and they use us where they need that extra bit of help, and the pain is sufficient that they're willing to go to us.
Very good, very good. So I'm going to go off on a slightly different tangent.
You've done very well to not do it up until now, really. I was...
Oh, no, this is about you.
Okay, all right.
That's why your face is on the screen, and people just hear my voice. I know what I look like already. But there's been a few developments lately, a confluence of events that are very interesting, that actually might help you when you're recruiting people from out of the area. First of all, as the boom babies age, and a lot of them are healthy, they're going to live a long time.
Absolutely.
I mean, the other day I saw Larry Carlton at the Blue Note doing Crusaders playlist for the first show, and then Steely Dan for the second show. He's 72 years old. He was playing stuff that he went live with in 1971.
Awesome.
Okay, that's 49 years ago.
Absolutely.
He's going strong. I don't think he's going to stop anytime soon. He looked healthy. He didn't sit for the whole two gigs. So a couple of things. First of all, baby boomers are living longer.
Yeah.
They're healthier.
Yeah.
They qualify for reverse mortgages. A reverse mortgage is if you sell your house in Silicon Valley, you could do a purchase money loan. You don't have to use all your cash and pay cash for a house.
Right.
You can go 50%, get a reverse mortgage with no payments. They just let the interest rate ride.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so that cuts down your nut now
Sure.
$30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year,
Yeah.
number one. And number two, over the last 2 years, the California State Assembly, the Senate, and the governor's office have been very aggressively passing all kinds of legislation to make it easy for homeowners to build accessory dwelling units and junior accessory dwelling units.
Yes.
So potentially, depending upon how you handle your Silicon Valley sale, your Peninsula sale, East Bay, San Francisco sale, you could use 1031 exchanges, installment sales. There's a number of different ways that you could do it. loosen up all your equity, buy a property, keep a lot of the equity in your pocket, put maybe 50% down, have a mortgage with no payments on it at all, and then build accessory dwelling units up to 1,200 square feet, including a junior accessory dwelling unit. Now, I don't know about you, but if, let's say, the maximum accessory dwelling unit is 1,200 square feet, and you could break it into an accessory dwelling unit of 700 square feet and a junior accessory dwelling unit of 500 square feet, so say one is a one-bedroom, one-bath, and the other one is a two-bedroom,
Sure.
one-bath, I mean, you can
Nice
rent brand new construction like that, two bedroom, one bath. You could probably get $2,800 a month for it, $3,000 a month. Even a little 500 square foot, one bedroom, one bath. I mean, you could probably get $2,000 for that. So you're at $5,000 a month income now, plus whatever little retirement you have on Social Security, plus whatever additional, and no mortgage payment. So all of a sudden, you've impacted your cash flow $100,000 a year, and you're in position to take that tasting room job at Domaine Carneros or what have you, and have the lifestyle.
100%. That will be doable. I love the idea of you got to have the land, but yes, if you can find that property that has the land for the ADUs, I think Napa, I don't remember quite how the legals all work, but Napa is, as far as I can tell, being very flexible in that, and because I think it's civility by civility.
Well, that is what the legislation coming out of the state has dictated. Municipalities and counties cannot arbitrarily obstruct in any way, whether it's fees or paperwork or process. I mean, you still have to follow the laws, but you could carve out an ADU out of a garage. You can carve out an ADU out of an existing structure. You can build an ADU in the backyard. And also, with all the fires, stick-built homes create a lot of different challenges. Number one, the price per square foot for the new construction is very pricey, if you can find somebody. But there's another technique, structural concrete insulated panels, that are very fire resistant, leave a carbon footprint. So all the things that we're talking about, the labor shortage in the North Bay, reverse mortgages, different techniques for selling your home and not paying a lot of taxes, building ADUs, all of a sudden you can go from being trapped in your equity-rich house but cash flow poor situation into being excited and inspired every day, going someplace that you're happy about and excited about, and having a piece of property that's not necessarily falling apart around you, but is actually all brand new and throwing off $60,000 a year in income while you live there.
Absolutely, the helping us solve the problem of staff and employees and everything else here could very much work that way. The formula could work that way, especially with the kinds of people that you were talking about. My open invitation to anybody, which, like I said, I did before this video, was, if you haven't come yet, give me a call. Let's talk about what your background is. Let's go over your resume, however you need to do it. Let's talk through what the expectations would be. That's my only ask, is I don't want somebody to be one of those ones that lands here not knowing what's going on, because the cost is the Bay Area without necessarily that income side. But we need them, and we need everybody at all levels of employment. And I think everything you were talking about would be wonderful in terms of how to offset that. Sounds like none of them really would have that problem for the most part in your network, so great. And come join us in the Napa Sonoma lifestyle. You and I both joke about it all the time. It's not horrible. Driving around here over the valleys, through the vines, going to the various restaurants, we're very spoiled. It's a very fortunate problem.
By the way, we have two new guests. My cugino caro, Maro,
so says you.
Maro Jr., my dear cousin. He's an excellent chef outside of Napoli. And Patrick Wallace from Modesto. Patrick, can you come to Napa and bring a couple of truckfuls of tomatoes from Modesto with you? We need some to make some sauce. He's a dear colleague, and I'm sure I'm going to see you down in Anaheim tomorrow, Patrick. and you qualify for a free espresso. Just stop me in the hallway, and we'll take care of that. So we've talked a lot about how people should be proactive,
Yeah.
hook up with you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's have a talk.
so I want to hook up. I want to hook everybody up with you and let them know that they have a special benefit that they're not aware of if they call you. You're not even aware of it.
Oh, you're about to tell me my special benefit.
You think so? You think so? Yes. Yeah, if you go ahead and call Chris Allen and establish a rapport with him, I will incentivize you. Not that I need to, but I will. You will be my guest for a free afternoon of Cabernet Sauvignon tasting at Inglenook Winery. We'll start at 1:30. And we'll go
like a
inside.
prize award.
and then I had Erica Myers call me already. She wanted to take advantage of that just now. And then after drinking my library wines in the gardens of the Luxembourg, reproduction of the Luxembourg Gardens, we'll go inside the chateau that was built in 1887 and taste the current vintage wine. So all that said, I'm sure people are going to want to take advantage of all this Napa Valley lifestyle. Chris, how are the various ways of getting in touch with you?
Email is callen, CALLEN, @nelsonstaffing.com. My desk line is 707-939-4050. There's going to be some connection channels here, I think, through social, so you could do it that way. Call John, he'll forward you all my info. That should be enough, I think. Yeah, call me directly. Let's have a chat. I'd love to help, love to hear what's going on.
Very good. And before you and I head off into the sunset, I think it's instructive. When we first met, you talked about how you had some deep thoughts on what you wanted to be when you grew up and where you wanted to live. You definitely had a plan for the kind of lifestyle you wanted to lead. Can you impart to our viewing audience, what was it about Napa Valley and the North Bay that got you to move here?
Well, it's a little bit of a cheat because ultimately, if you recall, I was in England, and the main reason I came over was because my mother was here, and I had to come take care of family, and that was fine. And this is where she had lived since I was little. I've been visiting here since the 70s. So coming up here and getting out of what I was calling the rat race quite a while ago, and we were only, at least in my circles, we were only just starting to use that terminology, the rat race or boiling or hot or too hard. It's too hard. When did it become hard? We were changing the world, and now it's hard. That language is all just happening as I left for England for that same reason. It just happened to be my wife's British, so I did. But coming back here was not the Bay. I couldn't do it. Once you leave, if you stayed in it the whole time, I'm born and raised in Mountain View, right off Castro Street. So I was there when it was all orchards and fruit stands.
Cherries.
Right? Olson's cherry. Yeah, absolutely. You don't notice it until you leave. But when you leave, it's very hard to go back. And especially if it's Napa or Sonoma. Our lifestyle here is most of the benefits of the Bay, minus the cost side, apologies. But without a lot of that too hard.
The friction.
It's so easy here. Yeah, the friction, the stress. Tension.
I forgot that your wife had been, it was from England. If I'm nice to your wife, do you think she'll collaborate with me and help me take over a third world country, force them to speak English and steal all their resources?
You'd have to talk to her. I've learned not to speak for my wife.
Yeah,
I think that's a safe thing to do.
I think they've done that already. I tried that line on an English banker that I was having breakfast with every day many years ago in Sorrento at the Excelsior Victoria Hotel.
Yeah.
And after a week of having breakfast, I asked him that question. Gee whiz, who would have thunk a proper English banker would get along so well with a rough around the edges Italian Brooklynite? I said, why don't we take over a third world country, force them to speak English, and steal all their resources? And I love the English. They always have a good comeback. There's a pregnant pause, and finally he says to me, Angola.
he picked the place. I love it.
The place.
Let's go Angola. Right. Yeah.
He had it all ready. Well, I think we've had plenty of frivolity today. Do you have any concluding remarks that you'd like to make before our next vlog engagement?
Everybody's welcome. We'd love to make it happen. We definitely need you to just do it in the right way, and we'll see you soon.
Very good. Chris, there are never some of those uncomfortable, pregnant pauses in any of our conversations.
No, yeah, we could have this be a 5-hour video log if we wanted to.
Okay, take care. See you guys next time. And by the way, don't forget, I am your roving realtor. In addition to living La Dolce Vita, I do support my lifestyle by helping my 4,000 plus clients buy, sell, exchange real estate in the greater Bay Area. So if you have a need to do any of that, please give me a call at 408-829-4141. You can email me at johnpinto@jvpinto.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can message me. Send me a courier pigeon. Just don't call me late for dinner. Okay, thanks a lot.
See ya.